Welcome to the Habitat Podcast, the podcast for wildlife habitat management, hunting strategy, and land stewardship. And now, your host, Jared Van Hees.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast.
I'm your host, Jared Van Hees, and we are here to become better habitat managers. Welcome to mid-December, everybody. Hopefully you are still out chasing those crazy whitetails in the snow. We have a cold front here in Michigan right now, and I have 4 tags left, a buck tag and 3 doe tags. So when I'm done wrapping presents this weekend, I will be sliding out with my daughter Harper to try to fill one of my remaining tags. Continue the freezer filling task over here. Been making barbecue snack sticks with my daughters. Been making jalapeno summer sausage. We're having fun enjoying the benefits and fruits of our habitat labor earlier in the year. Guys, great podcast here today. We have the Deer Camp podcast with Hutchie. He traveled up to my good friend Matt Zahl's camp, aka the Ponderosa in Northeast Michigan, Alpena area. You guys have heard Matt on here many times. Matt, he could have qualified for our small parcel series with his first 12-acre parcel. Now he's on to 30 acres in West Michigan. He's been on here a couple times, and we're going to catch up with him soon. After probably the new year, he did harvest a nice buck on his 30 acres. So we got tons to catch up with Matt. But this is Matt's camp. Matt is very similar to me, West Michigan raised, leaves his great private property for state land deer camp due to family, tradition, friends, and deer camp. So Andy Hutchins, aka Hutchie at the Deer Camp podcast, traveled up there after he left our deer camp at the Northern 70. And it's a great episode here. Some of these guys are like mid to late 80s, still going at this deer camp. I was smiling listening to this podcast, just wishing I was there. It's really, really cool, and I hope to see it someday. I know that there was a little bit of cell service issues in the middle of nowhere here, but that being said, the episode is still highly regarded among my choice of Andy's deer camp episodes this year as he traveled around. So check it out, guys. We're going to the Ponderosa in Northeast Michigan for deer camp. Thank you so much for listening here to the Habitat Podcast. I hope you all enjoyed last week's episode with Janis Patelis from Meat Eater. Janis is a new friend of mine, and I really thought that was a very good habitat episode where we're talking about turning your blank slate into something cool. And I really think that a lot of us can relate to that and learn from that. So if you like that, let us know, reach out. We'd love to have, you guys email in any feedback, info@habitatpodcast.com. Write in with some questions. You want to hear us answer one of your questions on the podcast? Write in. We have a bunch of new stuff coming in 2025. You're going to hear some familiar voices on here, some new voices. We're going to do things a little bit different moving forward. We're still going to have the same podcast we're doing now, but we're going to throw some new stuff in there too. Keep this fresh for you guys. So I want to just preface 2025 with some excitement and just say that really appreciate, all the guests we've had on the past 6 years, and let's keep it moving for 2025. Speaking of keeping things moving, we would love your rating on iTunes, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to a podcast. Give us a 5-star. Tell us how you feel. Let me know. info@habitatpodcast.com. Instagram, Facebook. Shoot me a message with your info. We got 2 reviews last night. The guys Facebook messaged me their address, and I'm sending them free 5-inch Habitat podcast decals. So we need to remain on top in the saturated podcast world. And you guys are the reason we're doing it. We appreciate that. We'll send out free 5-inch decals to anybody who listens and leaves us a review on Habitat Podcast. But I need to know it was you so I can send you the decal. So hit me up. Lastly, I want to thank our listeners once again for hanging with us over 6 years now. We're going to continue on. I want to thank our partners. 2025 was a great year. There are some awesome Christmas deals going on. You have Packer Max, Cultipackers, Vitalized Seed with the gift cards, the fish fertilizer. You have Latitude Outdoors. They just got done running a bunch of sales, and I'd still look at them for Christmas gifts. Guys, these are awesome items that, maybe just drop a hint to your wife. Send her a text. Let her know what you're looking for come spring, to use this spring. So I want to thank our partners. Lastly, I want to thank our patrons over there at the Habitat Podcast Patreon group. We are having a blast in our Marco Polo video app. I want to thank one of our newer patrons, Ryan. He owns the Antler Anchor Company. He sent me some cool brackets that you can hang on your wall for a Euro mount. But what's unique about Ryan's products, he has shed holding mounts as well. So he created these mounts to hold shed antlers on the wall too. What do you do with a shed? You throw it, you set it on top of something. That's great and all, but it'd be cool to hang your sheds around your buck mount if you've done that before. Ryan's a patron at the Habitat Podcast Patreon. Guys, we're having a blast over there. Check them out. Antler Anchor Company. And I'm a boater, so I really like the fact that the wall mount looks like a boat anchor as well with some deer antlers on it. You had me at the logo, dude. That thing is sweet. So this is just the sort of stuff we're talking about over at Patreon. I'm also going to be doing some events coming up. We're probably going to have a habitat tour at my property this spring. And we're probably also going to do some monthly conference meetings where we all get together in the Patreon group and do a monthly call. And it's just, if you like the Habitat Podcast, if you like what we're doing and you want to get further in terms of what I'm doing on a weekly basis, what Jason, what Joel, what Hutchie, what these guys are doing on a weekly basis, this is the way to do it. This is daily communication, and we appreciate your support. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in to the Habitat Podcast. Here's a great episode up at the Ponderosa, probably the finale of our deer camp series this fall. And guys, habitat season is around the corner. Be safe as we become better habitat managers. We are proudly partnered with Midwest Lifestyle Properties. Guys, I've been working with Chad Thalen and the Midwest Lifestyle Property team for a long time now. MLP is one of the top 3 brokerage in the UC network. That's United Country Network. There are approximately 600 UC offices across the country. Chad and his team here in Michigan are the guys you need to get a hold of if you're looking to buy or sell property in the great state of Michigan. A couple of his new agents. We have, well, not new, Lincoln Roan over in West Michigan. Brandon Hammonds, a brand new agent for the UC MLP team here. Alan Messing, another great agent. We're going to be hearing from these guys in the future about what they can offer. Their agents are real land pros. It is their lifestyle. They sell $150 million in land each year, and nationwide, they've sold over 25,000 acres in the past 2 years. Pretty wild. Chad and his team at the Michigan and Midwest Lifestyle Properties are here to help. We have a link in the show notes for you, MidwestLifestyleProperties.com, another great place to find out more. If you are interested in listing or purchasing a property here in Michigan, click the link below, tell them Habitat Podcast sent you.
All right, we're live. This week's podcast, we are at the Ponderosa Deer Camp in northern Michigan. We're here with a bunch of guys that have been hunting together for many years, mainly all family members, some friends, some family. How did your deer camp guys get started, guys?
Well, we found a cottage down in Alpena, and my dad had the 80, and we decided we wanted to put a camp out here. So we bought was it 10 by 12 or 10 by...
Oh, God. It was little.
Yeah,
not very big.
We added some to it to make a couple double bunks in the back room, and we hauled it out on a Sunday morning at 4 o'clock and had to cut our way in to get in with the thing. And then, well, we kind of went from there, added more to it. After the first year or two, I was the first one that stayed here. And when the boys found out that we were having a great time, it kind of got started. It really got going then. And we added a new part on 24 by 40, whatever this is. And it kind of went from there.
How many guys were here the first night? Or the first
about 100.
that was back when you could camp out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Seemed like 100. It was standing room only. And all the old guys at the time, we had a guy played a guitar, and he played and sang. And the first day, I remember all the old guys at the time he was playing music, and they were all drinking at noon and raising cane and dancing with their big old boots on, and guys were dancing with guys and having a great time.
red and black cotton suits?
Yeah, wearing wearing their red Mackinaws and knee-high boots. It was really quite an affair. You had to be here too. I think you were here, weren't you, Dave?
Yes. I was.
Watching and dancing too, probably.
No.
Singing though, he was singing.
How many
Oh,
deer did you shoot?
you
Did you
asked-
get out in the woods?
well, sure we did. The first day, Dave, well, the first year came up, when Dave came up, we went, that snowed like crazy. You know, we walked down in the swamp and he shot a deer his first year. And we dragged that sucker all the way up to camp from about 5 miles.
Wow.
5 miles away, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was about 5 miles, wasn't it?
A little farther than that.
What
year was
deer
that?
I don't know, it was probably
1965.
60 years ago, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
62.
So how long has the camp been in existence?
About 60.
64 was the first one.
61.
We had the little place was here that we moved in, and the boys didn't realize it would be much fun until they got here and started having fun. And the thing was small. We had a gas grill inside. It should have burned down. But it made it, and it was standing room only. There was no room to do anything. They were standing outside, inside, and they decided, or we decided, that we needed a bigger room or a bigger building. So that's how it went from there. We had our water and we had an outside toilet. It was a beautiful thing.
Except when you were the first one to use it in the morning.
Oh, well, yeah, you had, of course, there was no snow on the seat, but I mean, it was airtight. Steve said that squirrel was there with him.
I was in there using it and felt something vibrating underneath. And between my legs came a sprint squirrel with a mouthful of toilet paper.
Luckily, it was just a mouthful of toilet paper.
And it crossed my leg and up the wall.
You can hardly blame him. It was mostly alcohol. It's half in the bag. But then, went on from there, kept adding on and having more fun. And then the 1 year burned down, the old one did. And, here you are, we put a new one together.
1988.
88. Okay.
January 7th.
Yeah, that was a sad day.
Yeah.
I was dating my wife at the time and my mom called and said, you better sit down. Thinking, what happened? She said, the camp burned down. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
We were gonna have a,
He told me the same thing when he called me. He said, "You better be sitting down. I got some news for you."
we were going to have I was gonna have a retirement party out here for one of the guys that, I thought Bob Rulo, he was retiring and we're gonna have a little meet out here. I drove out to clean up the cans and all that stuff. And it's the strangest thing. I drove in and I drove all the way around down. And then I didn't realize that the only thing standing was the chimney for the fireplace and for the wood stove. Everything was flat.
He come out to the house and we were just sitting down to eat. And he said, "You been out to camp today?" I said, "No, why?" He said, "It ain't there anymore." "What the hell are you talking about? We were just there yesterday."
Yeah.
The majority of you guys live very close, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys still all stay here pretty much every night, correct?
Well, deer season, yeah.
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 Which is really cool because
It won't be long. I'll be thinking about going home and behaving.
I don't know. Can you behave?
I try.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do. So the camp's been around quite a while. Any good deer stories you got?
Oh, gee, they're all good.
I got a funny one. His brother Walt, Clary's brother Walt, he was he was a retired guy and he'd always be out here. And
Bachelor.
he was a bachelor and he was a fun guy. And one day Steve and I were out hunting. We were probably 16, 17. And we come in from hunting and he's sitting at the table in his orange hunting suit looking out the window. At that time there was still baiting, so we had a big bait pile outside of the camp and he had his gun laying there. And we came in and we started talking to him and he looks at us as serious as can be and says, "Hey, I don't come out and talk to you when you're blind." And Steve and I were like, "Oh,
Okay, so we stopped talking. We took our hunting stuff off. We went and sat down on the couch and we were very quiet. After about 10 minutes, he unloads his gun, takes his hunting suit off, and says, "What would you boys like to talk about now?" I'll never forget that.
Well, that's a good one there. So everything you guys are hunting, from what I've seen so far, is not easy hunting by any means. It's some pretty rugged territory you got here. How many big deer have you guys shot around here over the years? Any good stories on? I mean, I see some nice mounts here in the camp. What are some of the stories of these?
We had in the old camp, we had some real dandies too, a bunch of them. And I know Arn had a big one. And
Remember the one you shot? He came back and said there was a buck quacking down there.
oh yeah, I'd never heard it before, and it was going meh meh.
That just came about then.
Meh.
You never really heard that.
And it was this buck. I caught him in the act. He was going meh, but he looked up and he came after this little doe. I saw him the day before, and when he came after her the second day, it was a mistake. I put him out of his misery. It was a nice 8-pointer.
But we give you so much crap about the quacking buck down there. Now it's grunting. Everybody does.
Right? Yeah.
Well, we didn't.
But
Nobody
at the
knew
time,
anything
you
about
didn't
that.
know shit about it. Nobody.
Never even heard of a grunt call.
No. Well, what the hell is that? Meh, meh. Jeez. Well, then I saw him. He stuck his head up. Me. Oh, okay.
That was a beauty.
That was a nice buck. It was really high horn.
Yeah, it was a big 8-pointer.
But there's been some nice ones taken care of here.
Every buck comes with a story. That's what's fun about it. It could be something as goofy as that, but it's still fun.
Absolutely.
Treasure.
It's not the size of the rack.
No, it's not. It's about the camp.
Exactly. And whatever's a trophy, it could be a spike horn. And if it's a trophy to you, that's what it's all about.
It's all about your big one up in the corner there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, the biggest one.
Yeah, I had to work. I was working midnights, and of course I didn't get any time off at that time. And so I got out of work on Saturday morning, and I was going to come to camp that night and party with the boys. And so on the way home, I was going to sleep for a few hours, and I saw a buck chasing a doe across the road, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just go to camp and sleep. But after I saw that, I got here and I thought, well, maybe I'll go hunting. And one of the old guys, Ken McIntyre, was here in camp, and I said, "Do you think I'll mess up my spot if I go down right now? Because it's already daylight." And he said, "No, just go in slow." So I walked in slow, and I got down there where there's 2 does on the feed pile, and I waited till they walked off, and I snuck into my brush blind and sat down. After a couple hours, I kept hearing the blue jays hollering up towards the hill, and all of a sudden I looked up, and that time if it had horns, that was, we shot it. I just saw it from the side, and I shot, and he ran by me, and I shot again. And when I walked over and found him, I could not believe how wide he was. And he was from the back of my stock to the front of the forearm on my gun. I measured him, and I went back to camp, and I told the guys I shot a buck that was that wide, and they all like, "Yeah, right." You're no way. And so then Mike and I went down and got him, and he said, "Well, we'll drag him up." I said, "No, I'm taking my truck down there because I'm not pulling him with the 4-wheeler." He said, "Well, you can't get your truck down there." And I said, "Well, you watch." I had an old truck, and we got her down there, and we loaded up, and he could not believe how big it was. It has a 27.
We walked up to the buck, and I think everybody in the county heard me say, "Holy shit."
Yeah, it was a 7-pointer with a 27-inch spread. And so then we loaded it up, and we brought it back up here and hung it on the pole.
Yeah.
And Steve, he come in later on, one of the guys from out here, a good buddy of mine, and he said, "Who brought the buck from the UP and hung it on our pole?" I said, "Well, I shot that down below the hill." And he could not believe it. It took a little bit of convincing, but yeah.
I thought you were full of shit as normal.
I think everybody that looked at it jumped out of the truck.
Yeah.
Oh, just smoke.
Yeah.
Never seen nothing like that.
We got to go, Mike and Steve and I went down to Michigan Outdoors, and I got to go up on stage with Fred Trouse.
Okay.
It never got aired, but
Yeah.
Got to tell the story and stuff. There's been a lot of other guys that have shot really nice bucks out here. Steve shot one, what was it, 12-pointer or 10-pointer, 11-pointer? Tell him the story about that one.
There isn't really a whole lot.
Well, you had to shoot it twice.
That sounds like a story.
It's discombobulated horns, so.
And he come out
Horn that
and
moose on it.
Yeah. I let him have it, and he turned and come running right at me. I hit him, so as long as they're running, I figure keep shooting. Well, I haul up and winged another one, and he fell about from me to you from me. I went over there and I was, holy shit. I grabbed his horns and they went like that. Right there. On the second one running, my uncle always says you crack them right behind the ear.
That point.
Right.
But actually the taxidermist got it to fit real good. And that was 19 and a half inch spread.
And he won the local buck bowl.
Yeah.
23.
It's yeah, you gotta crack a little bit farther, but it scored 139. Yeah, that's not 140. That's not too bad.
Was that the year though it was real warm though? You had to pack ice.
Yeah,
in.
the pack ice.
So they had to leave it hanging on the pole for so many days or whatever.
What, if you put it entered it, you had to leave it on the pole. And then it got hot, and then I was worried about oil. And I almost lost the cage on it. Many days.
There's 5 father and son. And that guy and this guy, their fathers have passed away. That makes 14. They're all related in some way or another, except for me. I'm the oddball.
They find you walking down the road, or how did you become part of the camp?
We fought the Battle of Juarez,
Okay.
he and I. So
This is my 60th year.
60th year. And you fought harder, I think, than anybody.
oh yeah.
Yep.
Hey, we come from stock.
That's right. We could teach the young generation the same thing. That'd be great.
Yeah.
If you check it. It's on the back page.
What do you think it was all made up or what?
Tell them the story about the first year Dave came up here.
Oh.
I don't know if you can tell that story or not.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I worked for the peanut power, and we were trimming lines, and I made arrangements with the foreman to trim across the road at Walt's house. There's a lot of branches and shit that were hanging down. And it was the first day or the day before. So Dave shows up. And we had been over there trimming, but Rolly liked his booze too. And we came over here for lunch. Well, at lunchtime, shit, the boys were here and we had several. And Mr. Miller showed up and he said, or we had a drink. He said, what's your boss going to say? And I said, well, ask him.
He's right here.
He was all gassed up. And we went back across the road and got in the bucket trucks and took a long nap.
What about the young guys over here? You guys got any good stories?
Probably.
They're well behaved.
They're well behaved?
Oh, yeah.
What about the one on the other side of the lake?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
That was my first 8-pointer. I went out and left my seat one day because I wasn't seeing much, and walked out on the lake and a bunch of cattails and bog brush out there, and I was just hoping to jump up a deer, and I got about halfway across, and there's a buck on the other side of the river. So I tried to freehand it at too far beyond my excitement and let one fly over its back, and it didn't have any none the wiser as to where it came from. And I tried to rack another shell, and the shell shot out of the gun, fell into the tall grass. So I racked my last shell in, shot again, missed it again. At that time, he picked his head up and was wondering what the hell was going on. But I only had 3 shells with me, so I had to dig through the grass and all the shit, found the shell, put it back in, and knelt down and tried to steady myself and shot. And then I didn't see the buck, like he was gone. So at that point in time, I called my dad, and he didn't even realize it was me shooting because it was so far away. So he come wandering out at the end of my shooting lane, and then he looked out there and he's like, what the hell are you doing way out in the middle of the lake? So he wandered all the way across. I told him where I shot it. I got back out on the trail with Uncle Clary. We drove back to camp, got his truck, and we had to drive all the way around the lake. I lived there. Yep, you were there too.
So this is like a 10-mile drive.
Yeah, it's a big loop all the way around this long lake. It runs north to south.
Well, I think Uncle Clary had to drive because he was the only one that knew Piper Double Lake on that side.
We didn't
Yeah.
we didn't know how the hell to get in there. We were just, hoping somebody else knew. And we got there and I was all flustered and didn't, I wasn't feeling too confident because of the 2 misses. And we're looking around for blood. And Uncle Clary goes, "Hey, why don't you come look over here?" And there he was, and there he laid, and that was awesome. But then my dad was still standing in the middle of the lake on the other side of the river with no ride home. And then
Orange hat.
But there happened to be a flat bottom boat there, and my cousin was able to grab it and forge the river, picked him up, brought him back, and we all rode back to camp. So it was a good day.
And he rode in the back with the deer.
Yeah, with the deer.
That guy's stumped to high heaven.
Oh yeah.
You know how they do when they're really.
And he had a topper on, so it was
just based in
I was
there.
asphyxiating myself.
You look back at Matt, he was going.
Brand new to here.
Yeah.
Wasn't that on the last day too?
It was one of the last days that I was up here.
Right.
The last day.
Well, that's what I mean. Well,
Yeah, I had
you always
a lot of
have a
time.
tendency to shoot yours on the last day just before you leave.
Typically, you go.
Take the deer home and get it cut up.
That may have been in prior years, but yeah, that was my motive. Last day, they'd go in the truck steaming on the way home.
So does that mean tomorrow's a lucky day?
Hopefully,
All right.
we'll see. I'll take all the luck I can get.
It'll be the same old, we ain't no cleaning.
We had a deal here, Mike's uncle, Gerald.
Oh,
Jerry Gapsky.
yeah, Jerry Gapsky, yeah.
He worked for the city of Alpena, and somebody told him about sauerkraut. If you put it on stumps, that the bucks would really come for it. So over by Groovey's white seat, or where he sits, there was a stump, and
I didn't have
they dumped 2 or 3 quarts of sauerkraut on these stumps because the deer really loved them. Well, the deer didn't really love them. They might have, but not on stumps.
That's that same area I found where Jerry used to sit, and there's a bunch of Pabst bottles laying around this
Fat
tree.
Blue Ribbon.
Maybe that had something to do with why the sauerkraut was.
Yeah.
so good. But I found 3 or 4 around this tree one time. But I really thought Jerry.
But the funniest thing that I can remember is George Lewis playing music, and all these old guys with their red Mackinaws on and big boots, and guys dancing together, the whole floor full of a bunch of old farts all having a great time dancing.
That whole George Lewis thing.
That was pretty
One
neat.
of the top 2 things that ever happened here.
Yeah,
This
that
guy-
never happened here.
Well, there's a lot of craziness, but he would come and play that guitar all day, and he had songs that you just never heard, and they were really, really good.
Lumberman songs, and he would tell a story, and then he would go into a song, and his sons came with him. And that day when he would come, nobody went hunting after him. We was, it was just
It was that good.
he would entertain us all day long. And, there was a time where there'd be 40, 50 guys out here every night, because these guys the old guys were all in the Besser chorus. So a lot of hunting camps played cards and things like that. And out here it was singing. So there was lots of songs and good clean songs, and some, that you probably wouldn't sing in, opposite
Wouldn't sing
company.
in church.
But it was, so it was
They were camp songs.
camp songs. Yeah.
And one thing about George, he would drink beer and play guitar and sing, and then he would walk out to the front out here and he'd haul out the old weapon and get the job done, and he'd stand and look around, hands on his hips. Never worried about being all over himself. It was
He drove county plow truck, he probably did it all over hell.
Oh, yeah.
You know, gotta go, you gotta go. I mean,
He used to plow the camp out, didn't he? When
Once
back
in a
in the
while.
day, yeah.
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. You wouldn't have seen it, you never would have believed it.
He fought with the county plow truck, the big
He
truck.
had to use the
Yeah.
bathroom. He didn't just come in.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah. He knew where the key was, so.
Yeah.
We don't know. He's dead. We don't want to get him in trouble.
Yeah.
Who can tell the story years ago? The old buck pole between those two pine trees. How did you get that big fight between the buck pole?
Pulled the tree away a little bit and
But
set
those
the
are two
pipe
pretty
in.
big pine trees.
I know.
Got a big tractor.
Yeah, just
How did that work?
hooked onto the tree and pulled it, put the pipe in there.
And
John
one-
Deere?
And,
Yeah.
and one of the guys came after we put it in the pole, or come over and saw the pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Uncle Lou says he planted them as small trees.
That's why we had to ask, because that's the story we all
Yeah.
heard.
There used to be like a 2-inch pipe in between two trees out there. And it was just beautiful.
And it just kept going up.
That's what Uncle
Oh,
Lou
no,
said.
that's what the guy thought.
Didn't happen.
You know, didn't realize that the tree got bigger. Wow, the pole didn't get any higher.
Actually, we still got the same pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. It's on the new buck.
We took it out because the trees were moving so much and the pipe come loose. Hell, it almost come down.
Yeah,
Yep.
it made it come down.
So
It was like 3 years ago. Right? We redid the buck pole
we
and
redid the buck pole, yeah.
now we get a winch and push button and.
Light,
Highfalutin.
lights and the whole shit works, yep.
What about anything other than like what you guys use the camp for deer? You guys used to have some pretty good duck on here.
Oh,
It was-
duck, turkey. It was a big thing, turkey hunting, and duck season too. We'd all come out. I'd say we'd be out here, but about a dozen.
I grew up my first 14 years. I don't think we missed a weekend out here, did we?
No, no.
I don't remember ever missing a weekend the whole year.
52, eh?
Yeah.
Duck season used to be like deer season.
So it was
Yeah.
turkey season.
Good.
Well, we hunted a lot of, yeah, it was good. Of course, we were all young and full of pea and vinegar too. You know? And we had still a beaver dam over on the way to Steve's house, but we used to put waders on and drive it, and the mallards and wood ducks, and we'd have guys waiting. It was a great thing. Just chase
Around the pond and
shoot the heck out
a
of
few
it.
guys would drive and
We didn't really count a lot of points.
Well, yeah,
well, there was enough of us.
You always talked about going up that Lake Harbor, didn't you?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had the big guy right here.
I've heard all the stories. I've heard a couple.
The canoe.
One year we were out there duck hunting. I bought a canoe while we were both shooting 12 gauges, and we both shot out the same side of the canoe at the same time. That grabbed me as
It's the same canoe that was the wooden canoe though,
What's the
that we
shooting?
was partying once we had a big load of ducks and we're coming out and Uncle Gary had a
Here.
bar across
Here,
the back of it.
Killed
And,
me.
and the poor canoe at the end of the day was like this until it hit the bar and the rest of it was.
Hey, Gary.
down.
Here, sit still. You're gonna be squeaking on the podcast.
We will have you on there here.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, there was a lot of time. And that one day, Gary, was probably the same day when it was snowing so hard coming out of the north. Holy shit, whole in front of us was full of snow, but we still out there, weren't we?
We were tough back then.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
too smart, but we were tough.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anybody ever get lost out in those in the swamp out there?
No.
We all knew where we were
Well,
going.
Tom.
Oh.
Well, I was lost many times. One day we were
Well,
up on the
I have to
back
tell
of
you.
That's old chapter right
That's
there.
so true. I did.
Pow, pow, pow.
It was a Sunday afternoon. And Louis and Boyd and I took off. There was no snow on the ground. And
Going to bed.
while we were out there, it turned kind of chilly and started to snow. And we knew it like the back of our hand. And we ended up down where you guys were down in there, but the roads weren't like they are now. And it snowed and snowed and everything got hanging with snow. So everything was white from top to bottom and you couldn't tell anything. Well, Boyd and I got mixed up back in there. Lou made it out, and he made it home, and we were down circling right below the ridge to where we needed to be to get out, but we couldn't see it. So Boyd had some matches and we got a stump going, a pitch stump, got warmed up, dried up, took off again and got wet again. So we did it again. And then the storm went by so you could see the sun. So we knew where to go. And we made it home. And the next day it was October. It was warm, hot. And I know that this is true, but it's too far past. So you can't put me in jail. One of these stump fires that we had growing up was all that pit, just black crap that burns. Well, one of those stumps started burning, and we had burned. That's where that big fire on the other side of the big ridge came from. That was Golden Meat. It just kept perking along and got hot and dry and away it went. So we burned about.
We also had our famous
25 acres probably.
Couldn't find his way home most of the time. So he's the one that wasn't he the one yelling down there, help, help?
Oh, Tom?
Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Then he seen me walked up on some footprints and he said, oh, good, because of that snow while he was down there hunting. And he got walking along following him and he stepped on it right next to the footprint, looked, here's his own damn footprint.
Going around circles.
Good point of bird.
Tell them your story about your first deer, Mike, and your shanty with me and you in there.
Oh, yeah, my first buck. Yeah, I'll never forget. You were sitting in my dad's shanty with Steve, and this buck walks out up on a knoll, shot him, dropped him. I went straight out the window. Didn't take the door. Jumped out the window, ran over there, and it was a nubbin buck. 30 pounds. The thing looked like it was a giant. But it was my first buck. I don't think we were old enough to have a license yet, but I think we were
I don't know. I
maybe
said
10 or 11 years old, but killed that sucker, dropped him in the tracks. He was standing on a big hill, so he looked big.
Hey, Mike, anybody can shoot 180 pounds.
That's right.
30 pounders hard.
That's
right.
Yeah,
They're
smaller target.
Yeah.
Yep, that's for sure.
That wasn't the impressive part. You going out the window with your gun.
Yeah.
Oh, with the gun.
With the gun. Yeah, went right out the window of the blind.
I opened the door to go out and turned around. He's already gone.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's why he's a neck shooter now.
That's right.
Oh, Deadeye.
Hell yeah.
Well, it sure sounds like you guys don't have any fun around here, that's for sure.
Have you ever been overwhelmed by the hundreds of food plot seed mixes out there? Well, you are not alone. And Vitalize Seed has developed a seed program that takes the guesswork out of food plotting. Vitalize Seed has two core mixes, the Nitro Boost and Carbon Load, to keep it simple. Nitro Boost is their spring-summer food plot mix, and Carbon Load is the fall plot mix, each having a diverse mix of over a dozen different seed types that are highly attractive to whitetail. Food plotting made simple, but it gets even better. Each mix provides necessary nutrients to the soil, making for better plots each season and saving you money by needing less Roundup and less fertilizer each season. The 1-2 system simplifies your food plots just how nature intended. Vitalize Seed. Make biology work for you. Order now at vitalizeseed.com.
Guys, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Morse Nursery. I've been planting Morse Nursery trees from their nursery here in Michigan since I've been doing habitat work on the 15 acres. Right before I sold the 15, I had my apple trees budding and dropping apples. I had my chestnut trees dropping chestnuts, my crabs, the pears. Guys, Morse Nursery has been around for a very long time. Charlie Morse used to run the show, and man, their tree stock is unbelievable. MorseNursery.com. Fall is the time to place your orders for the spring. Whether you want chestnuts, persimmon, apple trees, pears, oak trees, or any tree and shrub protection. They even offer a survival kit for $10 that will warranty your tree. You do everything right and it's still, you get the drought or whatever, you still have a warranty. Morse Nursery offers that. Guys, they have starter bundles. They have a hardiness zone map on the website. Morse Nursery is my go-to spot for wildlife trees. I'll be picking up a load of the oldest trees I can get and bringing them down to a client of mine in Iowa and Illinois here very soon. I think if anybody's interested in cold hardy trees, tough trees, good genetic trees that have stood the test of time, check out MorseNursery.com. We even have a code. If you're on Morse Nursery's website, you want to save some money, use code Habitat10. That's 10% off. We even also offer some dealer pricing. Habitat Podcast, we are a dealer for Morse Nursery. If you're interested in getting a good nursery, a good orchard set up on your property, let us know. We'll be happy to help. Guys, check them out, MorseNursery.com, Habitat 10.
The coolest thing about this camp, though, Andy, is over 40 years later for me, never been an argument here, a heavy duty disagreement. I know a lot of camps where my family's from that couldn't survive. There's never been that here, never. So pretty cool. Not a lot of guys can say that.
Yeah, that is a good, cool.
Yep.
We also have a bowl weekend.
Bowl weekend?
Yeah, not particularly all these guys, but we have a bunch of other younger
When we
guys.
say young,
60-year-olds.
we were young when we started.
We are young in retirement, though.
There you go.
27 years we've been doing that.
Okay.
Is it way that long?
Well, there's got to be some stories with that then.
Oh,
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing like.
Yeah, this is rated R stuff now.
You're looking for hunting stories. There's not many of those.
That's all right. We'll take any stories. Hey, this is the Deer Camp podcast. It doesn't have to be just about hunting.
Hey, before we talk, this is Steve's family.
Yeah. I don't try to claim them very often. This is the other side. My wife's side. My wife's side.
You want an R-rated movie? Interview them guys. Jeez, oh Pete.
Yeah, there was a lot of drinking, going to bed late, getting up, going. We always went hunting. We didn't always feel as that well. And like we were talking earlier, I was telling about how one year I was sitting up in the tree and this buck come walking in, and between the buck fever and me wanting to throw up, all I wanted to do was shoot him so I could throw up. Get down out of the tree.
I have a story, but I don't know if I've said it or if you've heard of it already.
We'll hear it. Let's hear it.
You got closer to the bike.
I got this.
No, we're picking them up. We're good.
I got this big old brother-in-law of mine, the goofier than the shit house man.
We've all got them.
And he comes over, and he gets all jacked out of shape and he goes to bed. Well, it's midnight and we're all, hey, Michael's in bed. That's a bunch of baloney. So some guy gets the bright idea, let's put some dough and heat in his mustache. So he's laying there and this guy, he's dribbling this stuff in his mustache and he's not waking up. What the hell? So we dump it, keep dumping it. Before you see it's running down his neck, down into his shirt. That's how we dumped the whole bottle of dough and heat nut in his mustache. So we get up the next day, go, everybody up, gotta go hunting. So we crawl out there and we get to the truck. Well, I get to the truck and Michael says, well, I'm gonna hunt out of the truck today. That's okay. So we go out hunting and I made it to the base of the tree and laid in the frosty snow and just took a nap. The other brother-in-law, he went to his tree and I could hear him dry heaving from my tree way across the swamp. So anyway, we get back and we're coming back and I could hear Michael. He had the window down in the truck. His head was hanging out the window and he was snoring. I could hear him snoring. So we get in, wake him up, get going. We're driving out of the woods and he's going. It didn't dawn on Chris and I at first. He's like, what the hell did I eat last night? I I almost drove off the road. Then it dawned on me, holy shit, the smell of it going heat. My other brother-in-law, he says, we got you an old whore last night. Oh boy, that was a good one. We tell that one every year.
It couldn't have been to a better guy.
Oh yeah, and if you knew that saw this guy, it'd be even funnier.
Like, no.
Yeah,
But he did get a little revenge on Steve.
yeah.
The one night Steve went to climb in his sleeping bag and he felt Michael put it in his sleeping bag.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing back in the day you didn't go to bed first. Is how.
No,
it
You didn't
sounds.
want to go to bed first. No. We've graduated from that though now, so thank God.
So didn't, in the old camp, you guys have beams and stuff, right? You
Mhm.
hang them up or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had that. Don't you guys still have the one video? Dave was running around with the camera, videotaping.
Oh, could be.
I don't know. Do we still got that?
We watched it the one year.
Walt would sing and he'd have his hand up leaning against the beam, but the beam was here.
He was a good singer.
Yeah,
he was great.
No,
he's a good.
tell about the time you tried to make us breakfast before the first day.
The pre-burn down camp?
Yeah, in the old camp.
It's on fire.
Yeah.
Who's gonna tell that one, huh?
He was working afternoons.
Okay.
So he come out at 11 o'clock, and of course it was the night before, and he was drinking. He's gonna make us breakfast in the morning.
He's gonna cure the grill.
So yeah, he's out here curing the like 2 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden, somebody yells, "Oh my God, the camp's on fire!" So we all jump out of bed because the camp is blue inside, and we run out here, and here's Walt. He's curing the for breakfast, and
3
then,
hours on high and a gallon of oil.
yeah. So in the morning we had deep fried eggs, and I don't
And
think
he's
there was one
laying
guy
on
in
the
this
couch
camp that
sound
didn't
asleep.
get sick. They're blind from the.
Almost shit my pants that morning. Grease coming through there.
Crazy sucker.
Nobody will forget that.
Yeah.
No, eat.
He slid right down.
Right out.
Kept right on going.
He got everybody fed and then he went to sleep on a black couch.
He was a fun guy.
He had a one-piece hunting suit. And
Yeah.
he used to hunt over.
Still back. It's still.
Oh, they were coming there and he had to use the bathroom. Couldn't get his one piece off. So he had an accident. Finally got him out and pulled out took his jackknife and cut both sides of it. Threw him in the brush on the stick. For what?
I don't, 5-6 years.
That was a long time until they disintegrated.
Probably wore out anyway.
So I always laugh because you can probably tell better hard, but he lived like kitty corner over here, single bachelor, like, you know, my dad and I would come down all the time to camp. He would wait till we got to the gate, open it, and we wouldn't be to the power line, and he'd be right behind us. My dad was like, "Oh, why don't they open the gate up for us? You know you're coming." Like, you can do it. I'll just drive in. Like, why would I open the gate up? You can open it. I'll just drive in and not have to do it. Like, he would sit in that window.
He sat and watched for us to open the gate. He would, like I said, he caught us before we got here.
Like, we wouldn't even be in the power line. He'd be right behind us. And he would always be here though. Like, you always knew he'd be there.
Like you could come out and there could be nobody here, and he would always show up, which was great.
Yeah.
I mean, he would come out and hang out, and
But like,
he'd offer you a beer, and you always check to
Friday
see
we
if you had a
go.
cooler.
yeah.
To offer you beer from?
No, the coolers where we are.
Well, yeah, that every week we went for a ride. Every week we bought a styrofoam cooler for I can't tell you how many years. And I still want to know what happened to all their styrofoam coolers because every Saturday we go and every Saturday we get one of them coolers. I don't know where they all went, but the other classic one that sticks with me all the time is when the old camp burned before we That burned in January before construction started here. This camp is so cool and dedicated that when you come out, the gate was still open and everybody in their truck had a wagon train circle. And everybody sit in their truck and bullshit, drinking a beer. You didn't need the camp to get together because in that parking lot, there was a big circle of trucks. Everybody talking, bullshit, carrying on, having a piba, like, there you go. That's what it's all about right there.
Who listens to all this podcast? Because you're gonna have AAA out here.
Let them go, get something to do.
I think there's like 3 people, so we're and I might be one of them. Matt's one of the others.
You guys are saying.
What it is.
Yo, everybody, this is the stuff people want to hear.
A lot of people can't say that. So.
There's a lot of camps collapse.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. Why I started this was the fact that the deer camps are they're a thing in the past. They seem to be going away, and you need this male bonding, drinking, having a good time, deer hunting.
Yep.
In your life.
I told my dad before, like, I get buck fever. I like to shoot big bucks, but honestly, like, if I didn't have this, I wouldn't deer hunt.
Yeah.
100%.
No, me neither.
It's this that makes me deer hunt. Like
coming out, seeing all the guys. Yep. Absolutely.
Right. Well, it's like Christmas Day.
Yes.
Like Christmas Day.
It's going out with Uncle Gary in the morning, or
See, my dad belonged to a camp he couldn't take nobody in. So I never hunted until I met Gary's sister. That's my wife. So this, I wouldn't hunt either. I wouldn't get up in the morning, leave my home, go to state land. So.
And then you try and explain this to people. Who owns the camp? Why do you have a camp? How much property is at the camp? Well, it's not really who owns it or how much property. Like, it's not that simple,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a camaraderie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean you can sign up on a calendar and come out here anytime?
Yeah.
Like, I want to have a birthday party for my kid in June. We can come out here. What do you mean by that? There's weird things like that. So.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It's very cool. It's cool to see the older generation go. You got the younger generation here, and which will be passed down. I'm assuming
it's already happening because Zach's son is 3, and if he were here tomorrow when he walks in like he owns the place. Hi guys, how's it going? He'll leave going, hey, see you guys. He's only 3 and he thinks he owns the place.
That's awesome though that he at that at that age already. I mean, I remember that with myself as going to camp with Dad when I was a little kid, and let's go to camp on Saturday.
Zach and his wife were gone one weekend. We were over there watching, and he says to me, I told Zach, leave me the keys to your truck. He looks at me and he says, hey, what's Papa, and whatever he calls me, he says, let's go to camp and see the guys. Well, he thinks there's somebody here every week. He's never been here with nobody here. So he's just, let's go see the guys, and it's cool. So they're already starting, and these guys all got grandkids too.
When we were younger, during deer season, all up, Mike and I and Ed wasn't really involved much then, but the young guys couldn't come to camp till the second week. Right. So these guys could have their week doing whatever they did.
and now we know
they were hunting and sleeping. That's it.
They never slept.
I do feel bad like bringing Molly and Hudson out here now.
But it's during the day.
I know, but still, like, I feel bad. Like,
No.
That was a thing in the past.
It's a different time.
Back then it was a lot more rowdy.
Back then you wouldn't have brought him here.
I try and get him in.
You just sat in the parking lot.
I don't want to piss anybody off.
No.
We used to have double bunks back there. And the first time I remember coming out here, I already told this story this year once already, but the mice would get in the mattress and he put me to bed. You gotta go to bed. Well, really, he wanted to get me out of his hair so he could party. So I'm in the bunk room feeling these mice running underneath me in this mattress. I come out and I said, Dad, there's mice running there. Well, the camp's full of guys. Get back to bed. What the hell are you doing out here? So back in I go, crawling that mouse nest bag.
Should have called the health department.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh.
And really, when you think about it, Larry, when he started this back 60-some years ago, who would have ever thought that it would have become what it is?
Holy shit.
Right.
It's my favorite place to go.
Oh, yeah. Mine too.
I know when Matt told me about it, and you know, we worked out that I could come up and you know do this with you guys. This is probably the most exciting one I wanted to see. Was because the fact that you guys have been at it for so long, and that it is such a family enriched.
I think the crazy part is though, there's not on campus Memorial Day, Labor Day, Easter, Thanksgiving,
every week,
Christmas,
Every weekend.
like it's
It's a spot for all the families to get
right.
together.
You know,
it is really the hub.
it's the hub. Yeah, I think that's the coolest part of it.
Farm will always be the hub, but this is a major part of it.
Well, wedding receptions, Gary, when they got married, had it here.
First one here,
Yeah,
first party.
Yeah, first party.
In the new
In the new camp. Wasn't any
There was,
carpet out
there was nothing in the bunk room, no carpet on the floor, and that's where we danced.
Yeah.
and-
That's for it.
Yeah, the year we built it, I damn near didn't get married.
Well, there was there was 3 of us that year that got married, and it was a real test on our marriages, because we were out here trying to get the new camp built so that we could have something for deer season.
Did you guys build it all yourselves?
No,
We
we
had
had
a
a guy
general.
build it.
Okay.
Rough, we finished it actually, but he did the rough construction, like the decks, just put the building up and we,
The majority was done by you guys.
yeah.
I mean, we worked with them.
Yeah.
We had a mason that helped us out and laid the block, and then,
Yogi.
we had a general contractor
Yeah.
that coached us on the structure.
But when it got right down to the cabinets and
Drywall it.
Yeah,
insulated it,
whatever.
you know.
we did it pretty much.
Yep.
I know we had to work pretty hard to get that sucker done before deer season.
Now, did you miss a season between the one burning down and no, you did not?
The what?
Between the original camp burning down and then the next deer season.
We missed
Yeah.
the turkey season. We had
Yeah.
tents.
We slept in a tent with 3 inches of snow.
Turkey season?
Yeah.
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 And the
Yeah.
coyotes were howling like crazy out there. And Arden said that Mike was shitting his pants. Because they were
Hey,
right.
they were closer than you thought.
Did you think the DNR was out there?
He knew somebody was out there.
There was their
No, it
camper
burned
up
down
there
on the 7th. And we
Yeah, they had
back
a camp,
up the
somebody brought a
bunker.
motorhome in.
Yeah,
Wow.
Oh, that's
brought a
impressive.
motorhome.
What's that?
Paul brought a motorhome.
Yeah.
I will have to say that first deer season in the new camp, it was really weird. It didn't really feel
It
like,
didn't feel like
it
camp.
didn't feel the same, you know, and for me, it took about 5 years before it really started to feel like the
Yeah.
camp again. It was
Yeah.
totally different.
Because the old camp was camp. When you went in there, you didn't put wood in the stove, it got cold.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first came here, I had to sleep out front. Bunch of us young guys slept out front by the fireplace.
To keep the fire going.
Yep. You boys are in charge. And I remember the couple of nights there went out and,
You heard about it.
you know, we heard about it.
The hell's the matter with you?
One job, all you had one job to do.
Well, you guys shouldn't have so many beers and then you could
I
have
know,
more aware.
Could have been too.
The old bunk room was kind of tough too. We had to install a fan in the wall to suck all the parts out. And that's no bullshit.
I believe it.
Right.
Hey Steve, why are you farting so much? It wasn't just me. I added to it. That fan after a whole deer season could barely spin.
That was
I will say one thing, that
You're a
that
bunk
bunk
room.
room
What the hell?
tested your
So
endurance.
where was the buck
I couldn't
bowl?
sleep in there.
Where it is now, where it was.
Where the old one was?
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
trees right there.
Yeah.
Okay, I just asking.
Yeah.
It's all new territory for us.
And the outhouse was kind of where the garage is.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was over there. What's there now? What's over there?
When I come here,
No,
we're
no,
over
No,
there.
over there by the garage.
Really?
Remember that day, when Tommy did the outhouse and we got him with the rock and shotgun?
Oh, there's the story.
We waited for our big flip cop to go in there because he took a newspaper with him. Gary and I were on the deck.
He'd always be first so he could warm the seat up for the rest of
It's
us.
like, okay, he's in there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and I threw that rock at that outhouse, and he blew the shotgun, and Tom come running down there. He was right there. Tom was shooting at the outhouse. You guys didn't do that. Yeah, we did. Gary.
Guilty. There's a big rock too. I just whipped that baby at that out. Same time it hit me out, I was Gary Fire Deck out in here.
Well, you had to hurry him along because otherwise he'd be in there for.
Yeah, read. He's in the read.
Yeah.
I'll never forget
Jesus.
that. Cool.
You got 12 guys that gotta use it, and he's
Yeah.
reading the newspaper. Like he's like,
Got his attention, didn't we, Gary?
He didn't have to worry about shit.
There's a lot of good old guys too that aren't here anymore that
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
made this place what it was too.
Yeah, there's plenty of names below the placard line.
Yep.
No, it's regular glass to those guys.
Yep. Let's stay on top of the
Stay
top of the
on line
board
as long as we can.
Top of the plaque.
there's a lot of guys that aren't on that though, that were here all the time.
Right.
That weren't members.
Right.
Frank and Shorty Kent, Norm Worth, and Aval Kashner. There's a ton of people that were out here all the time that really, so I was a kid, made up a lot of.
I had a couple kids ask me at school, how was your kid made up? Who owns the property? And maybe somebody could explain that. It's a pretty cool concept, I think, of how it makes it up like.
Yeah, who does own the can?
Him,
Me, his
Me.
dad, one
I
other brother and his son.
Okay.
But we
It
all
all
own the
started out
building.
with the just the farm people and girls, like
Yeah.
Gary's mom.
And tell about how this 80 that you have is not, this is really wasn't the original property to begin with that your dad owned.
Oh, he,
And it's really meant to
I
stay
don't
in
know.
the family.
I don't know where it was, but he owned an 80 back in the state land somewhere.
Down by the lake.
And
I
he,
thought we figured it out one time and it was that corner where Chris Rude kind of around in that area somewhere.
I don't know, but he traded it for this piece, so it would be up where it would be more accessible.
For his cattle or.
Cattle, yeah, cattle, we used to bring the cattle from the farm over here and come and get them, find them. Bring
them all.
Bring them back home to milk them and let them stay over there overnight and then bring them back over here. They had it cleaned up pretty nice then. But
How are you guys preserving it for the next generation?
what you see is what you get.
I like
No, it's more than that.
I mean, because what Matt and what's your name already?
Some of us are just outlaws.
Right.
And
We
then,
got married
then
into
there's
it.
the core group, and then like Mike's dad, there's a core group, but the rest of us are just outlaws who married in, basically.
Like, me and Dave are probably the only guys that aren't actually family.
Okay.
So,
I'll bullshit your family.
well, I know, but I'm not. Well, yeah, because you married my sister, but prior to that, I'm not really part of the family, either is Dave. I mean, my dad and Clary were good friends, and then they invited us to come out on.
Okay.
And that's how we became members.
Yeah, Nelson and I kind of took care of things for a few years.
Like what?
Things.
A lot of stories with you and Nelson in line, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're hard to remember.
God bless Nelson. He's up in heaven watching us, so.
Yeah, I have to be careful what I say.
So you can join them, right?
Let's hear it.
No, nothing. We just kind of
It's good old fun.
carried on, yeah.
Good old fun.
Young and single and raising hell.
It's just one of those things, Dave's in the family, you know?
Yeah.
So.
The biggest thing I get from listeners that like send in messages is how do I get into a deer camp? There's a lot of, one guy's, they hunt the state land or their little private thing when they really want that camaraderie. And what would you tell those kind of guys? Like, what should they do to try to, either start their own deer camp or join a deer camp? Or, I've always said, a deer camp could be two guys in a truck camping out on state land. It doesn't have to be, a big lodge and all that.
Just be a gent. That's all. Here, don't be an asshole. If you can do that, then you're in good shape.
Find a handful of guys that you really like. to
You
get
know,
along with.
Yep.
I don't know how to
Treat
explain
them
it.
treat you kind of thing, you're home free.
Well, I think to end this, we definitely need a few more of these great deer stories. So, I don't know if you got a favorite one you want to tell, or
Why don't you tell the one that you shot that big one back on the ridge, the big one you had mounted at the whole camp?
That he did tell us.
Oh, did you
It
tell
was
that
always
one?
quacking.
That was the quacking.
Should tell the one about Walt's deer, the one we shot down here that was green.
Oh, yeah. No, that's kind of a tough one.
What about Dave when he said, bring the knife?
No, that's that's the one I took him down. We had this big snow and it was the first year. And I thought I saw a deer run. So I just told him to sit here and I wandered on and I just barely got to where I was said, pow, hey dog, bring the knife. How can that be? Well, that deer ran around and went right up by him and stood and let him shoot him. Oh, Jesus, we were nuts. We dragged until I don't know what time it was at night to get that thing back to camp. Of course, the snow was like that too. Then it snowed all day. Ugh.
What was it?
It was a 4-pointer.
Okay.
Yeah.
The moral of the story.
Right, tell them about that buck you got in the bog.
Oh, yeah.
You shot him how many times?
No.
Tell the whole story.
He's still running. I think I only shot him 3 times.
The whole story.
Well,
I'm
trying to
not
come up with
exactly sure how
stories,
to
you
tell
know,
this story, but
Is that when you're sleeping in the blind too?
that's a different one. I'm not telling that.
follow up.
Here's the moral of the story. Get in the woods. Because the day before season, Larry and I and another guy were going down into Devil Lake to check on some deer blinds, and we get quite a ways behind this big Impala, and we're walking along and saying, why the hell would that car be running up there with nobody in it? Well, somebody just ran down in their deer blind and they're coming back. Well, we get up alongside this big Impala, and some young man is just loving a nice young woman
In the middle of the afternoon.
I think they call it afternoon delight.
So you gotta just get in the woods, you know.
You had to see it to believe it. Only
Sounds like you saw it.
only
And we
explaining
did.
in the world would not.
I don't think that guy had any idea we were there that day.
He had real
Tell the
long
story
blonde.
about your
The
boss.
thing about it was he had real long blonde hair, and I
Yeah,
have
'cause you're hunting over
I
here
have
in
to
Bog.
say
You got that big
that
buck.
he had a weapon to be proud of.
This is not
He
a
was just-
podcast.
Oh, yeah. There's no editing in this podcast. Explicit lyrics.
This little tiny blonde gal, he's got her all disrobed, and he's got a couple of fingers there.
Hey, don't get too descriptive.
In the door. Well, get you all excited again.
If that's all it took.
I'm not kidding you. The thing that really impressed me was he had one about that long. He could have put 2 or 3 hands on it. And I thought, he's gonna kill that little woman.
We kill her.
She didn't seem to mind.
We got down in the woods where we were going. Tom couldn't wait to get back. He couldn't he could have ran and he can't run. But the car was gone. We got back. It was like, oh shit, that's in the top 5 of fun. Like holy shit.
You watch Tom when he talked about it, he started drooling. Licking his lips.
And that's
almost
the fact.
running.
Yeah, he was
Our
a
boy
real
was a
connoisseur.
connoisseur of loving women.
He's a nutcase.
But he was,
Well, then,
he was the butt of a lot of our humor.
yeah.
But he brought a lot on himself.
I know, but he was good about it. I mean, he was fun.
Well, you should tell a story about how you met Mel.
Oh, geez,
Oh.
there's another story.
Mel, yeah.
I forgot about old Mel.
Arn and I, well, we drove in. You've been in Devil Lake Road.
Yep.
down, and we drove in there. Arn was sitting on an old knob that I used to sit on, and we went in and checked it. Well, we came up the hill out of the swamp, and here's Mel Wieneman and Bill somebody, and we'd never seen him before, didn't know him, and it was cold and windy, and they're not. The good thing about Wiedemann, his nose was running and it was all over his face, and they had the goofiest clothes on. Oh, come on over to the camp or we'll have a drink. Well, shit. So we go over there. Well, we had a drink and we said, well, come on up to camp. Well, they did. And it would turn into a kind of a friendly affair that came for years.
It turned out to be a really nice friendship.
Yeah. Wiedemann, Mel didn't come as much, but
Mel came.
Or Mel came.
Bill did.
Bill didn't.
Bill only came a couple of years,
Yeah.
and then he went up north for the.
But go ahead.
Mel, he told Arnie, Mike's daddy, he'd like to cook. Well, Mel kept telling him, I'm gonna bring you a bunch of quail.
Coopersville quail.
Coopersville quail.
He was from
And so
Coopersville.
Arnie was all excited. He said, next year when I come, well, I'm bringing you these quail. We'll cook them up for dinner. So Arnie's looking up recipes.
For
and
3 days, Arn was in a cookbook.
he's looking up how we're gonna cook these quail.
Checking them out.
This is gonna be the greatest thing. So Mel walks in with this box and says, here's your quail. And so Arnie's all excited. He opens up the box and takes one out. He says, what the hell? This is a chicken.
It was a little
guinea hens?
Yeah,
guinea
they
hens
were
or whatever they
little
were.
tiny chickens. Arnie's like, that's not quail.
Yeah.
But Mel could never go back to Coopersville. He loved those. There's a strip joint in Cadillac. It's still there. Purple. Have you ever been to Cadillac?
Yes. What is it? Stopless, topless.
Yeah. Mel always said, I gotta go see my girl. and he did too. I mean, he just loved that. You know?
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
He was just.
Well, he took
And
the
then
ball back to
that one year we had that big snow and he just had wasn't it like a pop-up camper? And he come wheeling in here, he threw the keys for his camper. He said, I'm heading home. You guys get it out however you can get it out. And he'd come back in the spring and get it.
Tell me how much I owe you.
Yeah. We all go back in there. He looked like a gypsy because he had shit hanging in trees and stuff.
He was that gypsy.
So he had gathered all that shit up, folded his camper up. Larry hooked onto it with his truck, pulled it out of there, took it over to the farm and put it in the barn. Then he come back up in the spring or something and got it.
But he had a carnival. When he wasn't up here, he had a carnival thing down and he made all kinds of little things. But he had a popcorn stand.
He had
I said to him one day, I said, how can you sell enough popcorn to make it worth your while?
Concession trailers.
Yeah, they go to these carnival things, and he says, you just wait till mom and dad go by with their 4 or 5 kids, and he says the last little kid, you go, hey, little fella, here's some free popcorn. He said, before you know it, every one of them back. They all got it. That was crazy. I love it.
What was it? Didn't he left his wallet or something here?
We lost it up in Houghton County one time, but I don't know how you got it.
No, anyway, it was here somewhere. Well, I took it home because I was closest. So I called him up one time and said, oh, okay, I can meet you in Coopersville at the lumber yard or something. So I drive over there and here he is bullshitting with a guy that place. So I'm just going to give him his wallet and I'm going to go, oh, you got to come on over to the house. I got to show you all these trinket things he made and had to meet his wife. And he had this wood shop. I mean, it was so full of sawdust and shit. You couldn't see nothing in there. He was so grateful to get his wallet and shit back. But he had to show me his concession trailer. He had all fixed up.
The thing I always liked about Mel, he'd come in with a great big bottle of whiskey every time. He loved whiskey, but he'd leave it here all the time. I said, hey, don't forget to take your whiskey. I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'll be back. Then he comes in another one, you know. But
well, wasn't that first he stayed at the motorcycle club or?
Mhm.
No, at first he stayed in the woods.
Oh, back in the woods, yeah.
Back in the woods.
At the end, he stayed in the woods.
At the end, he
Then
stayed over there.
when Bill stopped coming, he went out to the.
Yeah. How did he?
Somebody went
he
in
did
the
I
line
did.
and
You and I went down there.
we
How did
opened
he-
the door up on that camper and it swelled so strong and sweat in there. You could, it almost would knock you over. Holy shit. It was just amazing.
That's how we got, he forgot the wallet there. I think we went down to get the wallet.
Is that what it was?
And then we gave it to Wayne. He left the camper for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think that's the only way we could have got, he didn't forget that wallet here. So I think you and I went down to get that wallet.
Damn, you used a gas mask.
Oh, it could have used a little Febreze, that's for sure. That's the neat part. People wander in and out of your lives and you meet friends and, you know.
Yep, we've met a lot of nice people
Yeah.
in the woods.
Yeah.
Some not so nice.
That duck and that turkey foot over there, the ones that he brought up.
Oh, Mel brought that turkey foot?
That duck, if he was alive, the story he told about that duck, trying to kill that duck. So he could get it mounted to bring it up here. I don't know, he stuck it in the freezer and then it was still alive. And then he thought he'd put it in the gas pipe of the car and gas it. And I don't know. And half of the stuff I think was all bullshit, but he always had a really good story to go with everything. And of course, he had us all laughing. You know. But it is a pretty nice wood duck. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you having me to camp. This has been a great time. You guys got anything to say to the next generation?
Hope you have as much fun as we do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we
Yeah.
got a lot to live up to. Jeez.
Well, you don't have to live up to us. Just
We
carry it
don't,
on.
we don't have that many stories yet.
You're not as old as we are.
Give it time.
Well, guys, like I said, thanks for having me, and hopefully we can do another one sometime.
I don't know what kind of stories you would hear, but I hope they're somewhere near.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Thank you for tuning in to the Habitat Podcast. We really do appreciate you guys coming back every week to get this awesome Habitat content. And we would appreciate it if you went to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us continue to grow and trend in the right direction, attract new listeners, and help us provide better content in the future. Guys, we have a website full of resources. We have a blog on the website. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all linked up at habitatpodcast.com. Our land plan services, merchandise, decals, hats, t-shirts, and I give away a free 5-inch decal to anyone who leaves us a review on Apple iTunes. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our partners, Downburst Cedars, Vitalize Seed Company, Morse Nursery, Packer Max Cultipackers, Stealth Outdoors, First Light Latitude Outdoors, United Country Midwest Lifestyle Properties, and Exodus Outdoor Gear. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.